Hi and welcome to this week's Wu Wei Wisdom Life Lessons teaching. It's great to be back with you all. This week we are talking all about those times when our inner child tests us. Now, you know when you've been working really hard doing the reparenting, those inner child conversations, and you feel that you're on top of things and your inner child is in control, but all of a sudden your inner child pushes back, it rails up, and you get those overwhelming feelings of inner child fears, angers, frustrations, and anxieties. Well, in this teaching, we'll be explaining what is going on here and how to best deal with it. Okay, David, so how common is this that if we've spent a long time doing the inner child work, taming our inner child, that all of a sudden the inner child can push back?
You know, Alex, it's really common. And even when you believe you've mastered it and you've got that integration between yourself and the part of the mind that we're calling the inner child, there is still that test. It's the inner child always searching for certainty. The inner child wants to be future-proofed. It wants to know that what's coming down the track, it can deal with and it can cope with. So it's always testing you to see whether you're a fit person to deal with this, the unknown, let's call it. He wants to test whether you're a right person, whether you've got the capabilities to deal with the unknown.
I guess that inner child, that part of our mind, a lot of people would refer to it as the ego, but we very much see the benefit in as referring to as the inner child. I guess it's testing us because it wants to be able to trust us. It wants to know that we are capable, that we are in control. But I guess as the mature adult, we can only be in control of so much in our life.
Well, this is the core of the problem, really. This is what activates the inner child, because it will not accept that we live in the unknown. It doesn't like the idea that we can't judge. We don't know what's going to happen, even in the next few moments. And it's looking for that certainty because it doesn't want to be caught out. It doesn't want to be what's called sideswiped. It doesn't want to be knocked off. It wants to know that whatever's coming, it's going to deal with, and it's not going to receive any criticism. It's not going to receive any comparing. And most importantly, it's not going to receive any judgmental from other people. It dislikes immensely other people judging him.
But I guess, David, that we may have days, weeks, long periods of times where things are in balance. Our inner child is happy, easy, creative, positive, playful, all those positive inner child qualities. And we think, we've cracked it. But then it's, I guess, these tests, this railing up, this almost like inflammation of the inner child qualities and negative out of balance qualities happens when we meet the unfamiliar.
Exactly, Alex. And it can be something that sparks out of that you don't expect. It could be something on the news, a flood or a fire. It could be something that somebody tells you, or it could be something that's happening in your life, a threat of redundancy or a threat as in the relationships. And so anything that the inner child part of your mind sees as this lack of control, this being taken over, the inner child will rail up, as you said, particularly when you're tired. And this is why one of the reasons why I like the analogy of the inner child. If you've got a physical child, how often when you're busy or you're tired, does the child come to you and say, "Mom, Dad, can I talk to you about this?" And it's the last thing you want to do. And your mind acts in exactly the same way. So if you're tired, if you're hungry, if you've had a lack of sleep, if you've got a lot on at work or at your home, this is the time when the inner child will put his head above the parapet and it will test you. Can you deal with the reality of life? And can you protect me and keep me safe at the same time? And so this is why this testing that we're talking about on this video will happen constantly throughout your life.
So I guess the first thing to say in terms of the first important lesson we want to share with you all is that when this happens, you should not believe that somehow you've misstepped, you've made a mistake, you've slipped back. It's all the inner child reparenting as being a waste of time, or that you've done something wrong, because this is normal. It's an ongoing process. People say, when do I complete the inner child work? When do I know when I'm done? Well, you're never done. It's like a constant ongoing relationship. We need to maintain that kind of balance between the parent us and the inner child part of our mind. But if we beat ourselves up and say, oh, the inner child, there you go, the inner child is winning again, I'm back to square one, it's almost like you're letting the inner child then take control of you.
If you get that seed or grain of doubt, self-doubt, that's what the inner child is looking for. Can I trust the mature part of your mind? And so when you doubt yourself, when you, what we call CCJ, criticize, compare, or be judgment about yourself, this is where the inner child sees a chink in the armor, and the inner child will go full blast to widen that chink, because again, it's looking for that security. And so it's very important to be absolutely firm and calm with the inner child. And as you say, when it strikes at the most inconvenient time, and sometimes that could be in the middle of work, and you can't have that couple of minutes to reassure the child, you must deal with it as soon as you can. And even if that means going to the toilet for 5 minutes and just speaking to yourself, and even if you're watching us now, and this is something that could happening right now, it's just something as simple and as practical as dropping your shoulders. You can do that now as you watch me. Drop your shoulders and just take a calm, easy breath. And just for a few moments, watch the breath entering and leaving your body. And when you do that now, as you calm the inner child, you can now give it the reassurance. Because the life lesson is here, we do not want to have that separation where the inner child and the mature you or the adult you are in conflict. Really, the basis of all of our inner child teaching, the life lesson, is to bring it into a oneness, merging or morphing into one. So there's no separation. So that simple technique that I call a meditation, because I believe meditation is about focusing your mind, not letting your mind drag you around like a dog pulling you on a lead. Don't let the inner child take control of you. Bring them in with love. Breathe deep. Hold them close to you. And even if they go, yes, but, then you just take a breath and say, don't worry, darling, we're a team and we can do this together, as we've done all of our lives. We've always coped and we always will cope.
And I think, David, that when we hit these challenging situations, unexpected situations, and the inner child pushes back, that's the first thing it's looking for. It's looking for that reassurance. It wants to trust you, but it's uncertain. So just doing that simple kind of gathering in of the inner child, giving the inner child some attention, acknowledging the inner child and why the inner child may be rattled or disturbed by this unfamiliar, uncertain situation. That is such a powerful first step in this exercise.
I can't emphasize how powerful that simplicity is. And I think so many people have a misunderstanding about meditation. They believe it's something you have to sit quiet for hours cross-legged in front of a candle or a picture. And really, for me being a Taoist, meditation is just the practice of being focused, of calming, of centering yourself in what we call Wu Wei, that effortless effort. So when the inner child is railing and pushing the boundaries, again, that's why I like the analogy of the inner child. If you have your own physical children, you know, you set a boundary, they'll push against it. The inner child works in exactly the same way. And so, as Alex has just said, it's looking for that rock, that solid, that grounding. And you can't ground on sand that's shifting around. You have to say, enough. And I would always use my favorite term, and I know a lot of you like this, but equally a lot of you don't like this term. I call it stop it. Stop it now. Come here to me. Let me hold you. And just synchronize your breathing. And just calm down. And the inner child, although it will fight a little bit, really that's what it wants. It wants that rock that it can anchor itself into. It wants that stability. It wants you to be, this is why I like, again, the analogy of the inner child. It wants you to be like a spiritual parent, like the parent it's never had. And they're your spiritual child. And this is the reparenting that you have to go through on this process. That when the child is pushing, when the child is having a bad day, when the child is worried, you have to give it that reassurance and that calmness. And you have to show it in its flow and to be authentic and to be true to yourself. You have to show it that you believe in it, like I believe in you.
And David, I think this whole, I guess, process of self-correction, process of rebalancing in the face of a situation or a person which is challenging us, where we're not quite sure what's going on. We haven't quite found our footing. This is like the normal ebb and flow of life. And I think we can get more practiced at rebalancing the inner child if we do this exercise more regularly. So don't just do it when times are challenging, times are hard, but almost make it a regular daily practice just for 10 minutes a day.
That's so important you brought that out, Alex, because I would really encourage you to spend 10 minutes a day. You know, if you've got enough time in your life to worry, if you have enough time to create anxiousness, if you have enough time to create all of these red light emotional feelings and emotions during your day, surely you can spend 10 minutes just to sit quietly or to go for a walk or just to be focused as on yourself. And as Alex has just said, that teamwork, that process is an ongoing thing for the rest of your life. As you do it, it gets closer and closer until you're in the oneness where there's no separation. You are worth it. Your inner child is extremely important. It's part of you. It's your responsibility. Be accountable for it. Don't be in opposition with it. Show it love, show it kindness, compassion, and listen to it and resolve the issues that the inner child has. I said, and I believe, you can do this. You wouldn't be watching these videos if you didn't think you could. It's a challenge because it's out of the familiarity. But if you stick firm to your path and watch those ebbs and flows like the river flowing, you will come through this and you will receive that oneness of being a spiritual being.
Thank you, David. And I will put a link in the show notes to David's guided meditation playlist. There's a whole host of meditations on there for different issues, different occasions, including several beautiful inner child meditations, all of different lengths. So please do check them out. And Feel free to use them as part of your daily meditation and bonding practice with your inner child. I really, really hope you have enjoyed this teaching. Please do let us know and perhaps share it with someone else who you think may also benefit from it. David works every week with clients all over the world via Zoom video call. If you'd like to learn more about David's one-to-one consultations, I will also put a link in the show notes about those as well. And finally, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We produce new teachings every week and we would love to share your journey with you. Bye-bye.